As we already know, Husker volleyball isn't just huge within the borders of Nebraska, but the Black Shorts have made a big impact on the sport across the country. Joining me now is the athletic director from Newark High School in Ohio, Jeff Quackenbush. Jeff, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes.
Absolutely.
My first question is could you tell us a little bit about the project that you guys took on this year?
Well, after the outdoor event at Nebraska, we had different community members approach myself and the athletic director at Newark Catholic, Rob Smith, and just thought this would be a great idea to do here. We had no idea how to get that started, but we kind of put a committee together and just started working at it and got an outdoor court. Met in the spring to get started and somehow figured it out. A lot of credit goes to the Newark Catholic staff and their volunteers for not only getting the court but also getting the platform to be able to put the poles in, because that was our biggest concern, is how would we get the volleyball net up on the football field.
How long did it take from conception of the idea to conclusion of the actual match? How long did that take?
Well, I think we had our first discussion at the beginning of May and started getting the word out to some local schools. We wanted to try to keep it pretty small the first year because we didn't know actually if the court would be able to hold up and would the net be able to, would the standards work for the net. So, and then we had the event in August, beginning of August.
You said first year. That makes it feel like you're going to do this more than once. What's your plan going forward?
Oh, absolutely. We've already met, and our goal next year is to have two courts going at the same time, because we own a court now, outdoor court, and they own one. So our goal next year is to have two courts going, and then inviting teams from the Columbus area to come over also. So the goal would be next year to have from 12 to 16 teams, because we do it as a preview.
You had talked about the impact or the idea coming from Volleyball Day in Nebraska originally. At what point did it go, hey, we can do this too? We can at least do our version of it.
Once we were able to get the correct equipment, we knew we could pull it off. It took us about 3 hours to set up the day of the event, to put the court down, to move bleachers around the court. To put the platforms, to fill up the gallon jugs to put on there, because it was a flat platform that had a sleeve in it, is where we put the poles in. So it took us about 3 hours to set it up. Ran 3 matches that night at 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. The weather was beautiful. It was perfect, because as you know, out there, if it would have rained, all that work for nothing. So and then took us about an hour to get everything cleaned up. Had a lot of volunteers from both schools with the cleanup, and it was just a great event.
From the video your folks provided us, it just looks amazing with the sunset, and just everything was picture perfect for you guys. Have you had any reaction from Nebraska itself following the event?
We have not. I can't speak for the Newark Catholic staff and their athletic department, but we haven't. What we have is had many schools, athletic directors, volleyball coaches call us in the Midwest, most from Ohio, but I've had a couple calls from Michigan, some schools in Michigan, to see how we pulled it off, and also to see if they could borrow our court, which absolutely, as long as they're the ones moving it. But it's just a great event for our kids. And the amazing thing to me was, being the athletic director here for 15 years, is that there were people that came to that event that I've never seen come to a volleyball game before. And now, since they've been to that, they're now coming to volleyball matches here at our high school. So that's great for our kids. There was 1,000 people that night in attendance, and I think we made some volleyball fans out of that event.
I was just going to say, obviously Nebraska's got their own rich tradition going with 92,003 people packing Memorial Stadium. But you are spreading that volleyball love out in Ohio, and it sounds like you're making some new fans by your hard work putting that event together.
Absolutely, that's our goal, and that was it. And we're just going to try to make it a little bigger next year, and hopefully have another great day, weather-wise. If not, we'll always have a rain date, but that's definitely the goal.
Jeff, I will make sure that we get this information off to the University of Nebraska because I want them to know that their impact isn't just here in Nebraska, but at high schools all across the country, especially yours, putting on events because of what you guys saw.
Yep.
That's really impressive. Jeff Quackenbush, Athletic Director and Hall of Famer out in Newark, Ohio. I appreciate your time and thank you so much for telling us a little bit about the story.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Great story out there in Ohio. Again, another example of Nebraska volleyball touching all corners of the nation. We'll just have to see if Michigan or another state takes up the mantle after Ohio.